Hi, and welcome to Plugged In. On today's show, we look at polycystic kidney disease and the impact it has had on one family for 2 generations. It's a special PKD All in the Family episode, and it's coming up next right here on Plugged In.
Congratulations, Chrissy.
Thank you.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks post-transplant.
Yes,
How are you feeling?
very good.
You look great.
Thank you.
So it went well?
It did.
Everything went well?
It did. Yeah. No complications yet.
So it's always interesting for people when you first woke up from the transplant. What was going through your head? Did you feel instantly better, or did you know what was happening?
The first thing I noticed was I did it. I did it. The second was the 4 IVs in my arms, and I was like, am I okay? Why are there 4 needles in my arms? But and eventually started taking them out one by one. Other than that, it was just weight lifting off. It's like, I'm done. Like, I survived. Like, this is good. This is the first day. Like, of course I was in pain, but
But you're on the other side.
yeah.
Yeah. Your dad
Yes.
was had polycystic kidney disease, and you were tested when you were a little girl, but they
Yeah.
said
No, I was good.
you were good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was around the age of 24. I think it was the same
yeah.
age, exactly the same age, which is amazing that as your dad, that you started to get a few symptoms,
Yep.
dehydration, migraines,
Bladder infection.
and you were getting them checked out. But at that point, still, they
Nothing.
didn't say, oh, it's kidney disease.
Right.
So what was the final thing that kind of led them to diagnose you with kidney disease?
Migraines that I've had. I'm a hairdresser. At the time I was hairdressing, and that's when they found out. We did all these tests, went to the doctor for my migraines, and then went to Emerge, and that's when the final test was, and it's your kidneys. Yeah.
That moment, were you completely surprised, shocked?
No.
You weren't.
No. Because I always had in the back of my mind, I could get this, I could get that. Both my parents had high blood pressure, it runs in the family, I guess. I grew up with no salt already, because both parents can't have salt.
But they told you in the hospital, though, that it was your kidneys
Yes.
failing.
Yeah.
And so right away you're thinking, I've got
Yeah,
what
what
my
Dad had. Sorry. Yeah.
dad.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did they put you on dialysis right away? Because no.
I wasn't in stage 5 yet. At that point, I would have been in stage 3.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You move out here. Another huge change. You start dialysis out here. Your kidneys start to fall quite a bit, or quite fast, I should say.
Yeah.
What's going through your head at this point? Like, are you thinking, oh my, I just need to get a transplant? Is this what's going on inside?
I wanted to be somewhere where I wanted to be happy. I was happy back home too, but here it's so pretty, and I don't want to be stuck at home where there's 6 feet of snow. I want to do more things like hike, waterfalls, all that kind of stuff. Have a view every day, And I gave a reason for my family to come visit because I'm here.
Derek also, though, was, and he didn't tell you at first, but he was doing something else. He was working himself up to be a living donor for
Right.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to let you know until it got a little bit further along.
Yeah.
So when you found out that he was doing that, what did you think?
I thought, wow, you don't have to do that, because if it went through, it would have been dual income, no income, because we both would be off work. rely on EI. It would have been hard. We have 2 dogs, and of course, BC living is expensive. Car payment, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like worrying, we need to save now, you know.
You're really focused on the practical and the financial, and here's, you know, Derek, I think is just thinking he wants the 2 of you to have your life back. He's working himself up, but you get a call.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I got a call when I was at work at about 1:30 in the afternoon. I was about to go for lunch, and the day kind of started off a little bit weird. Well, actually, probably 2 weeks prior, it was weird. All these signs and things that were happening, and yeah, I got a call at 1:30, and I can't remember the phone call was kind of a blur. And
what did they say? Did someone say, Chrissy, we have a kidney for you? What did that?
Kidney op. That's what he said, and I was like, what? Kidney op? I was like, okay, give me a second. I'm gonna go get away from my desk because it's loud, and grabbed a piece of paper and pen and went and sat down in the parts department, and he said, yeah, there's a kidney opportunity that has come up. It's a full match for you and everything. And I just kind of sat there. I was like, okay, what do you need me to do? Like, no crying yet. It was more like, what do I need to do? What do I need to bring? Like, what's going on? Like, writing everything down, like organized, right? And yeah, it was 1:30. Had to be on a 3:15 plane. Got on that plane, the Sea Harbor plane, and Derek came after on the ferry just so he can pack my things. And
what sort of time frame are we looking at? From when you got that call, when did you need to be at the hospital?
ASAP. So at 1:30, they said you need to be on the 3:15 plane, and I was at the hospital in my bed at 4.
Really?
Yes. As they were getting ready, doing tests, blood work, all that kind of stuff.
You're now in the hospital bed. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Derek knows. Who else are you calling? Who else needs to know?
My mom. Yeah. And my friends, my close friends, of course. And then I relied on my mom to tell family. But yeah, it was my bridesmaids were the first ones to know, and a couple closer friends as well. The boy friends that I grew up with all my life. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you had a whole crowd in Regina rooting for you.
Yes.
Were you scared as the hours ticked closer to the surgery time?
No, I was pretty relaxed. I have a friend that lives here, and Derek, and they said they'd wheel me into surgery at about 12 in the morning. They were both there. I was relaxed. I was fine, making jokes. I was ready. Yeah.
Everything went well. You came out of surgery. Derek was there. It's probably a bit of a blur.
A little bit. After surgery, you're not all there. Mm-hmm. And you're sleeping all the time and resting, and you have all these drugs in you. Like, I can feel that there's pain, but it's numb at the same time. Like, it's a weird feeling. You're hooked up to IV and you're taking oxy. It's just like, whoa, so afterwards I got a little bit more, it's like, oh my God, like, yeah. I hope nothing happens to it. When I walk through like downtown or something, I always have an elbow out. I take care of it. I don't want...
It's your baby, right?
Yeah.
Your new baby.
Don't walk into me, you're gonna get elbowed, yeah.
Yes. So Derek, can you talk about when you first met Chrissy?
Okay.
Where did you meet her?
We met at a Saskatchewan Rider game, actually. It was a Labor Day Classic in 2011. We hung out a little bit that day. We got along, but we didn't really get to know each other until later on. Where I really got to know her was in Cuba, because I was with her in Cuba. It was a very, very small group of friends. So
this was, what year are we talking? We're talking
2011.
2011, because pretty soon you popped the question, right?
Yeah. I've known her for less than a year, and I popped the question, which she said, yeah.
And then Chrissy started to get a little sick.
Yeah, so during the time of our engagement, because we were engaged for about a year, she started to get migraines, heavy migraines, and started to get some testing, and she was diagnosed with hypertension, basically at first, which is, yeah, just high blood pressure. Like her blood pressure was through the roof. It was like 200 over one something, and it was really, really high. People were really surprised
That a young person had such high blood pressure.
Yeah. As soon as it all happened, Chrissy told me about her dad and polycystic kidney disease.
So this news that she told you must have been a real shock then, because you didn't know that. You probably didn't know anything about polycystic kidney disease and what that meant.
No, I didn't know anything. When she was going through that whole testing process, she knew what it was, right? She knew right away, and I didn't know at all, so I had to do a little bit of research on my end. But, surprised? Yeah, absolutely. Unaware, I think the better reaction is just confused.
You're in Regina at the time, but at some point you decide to make the move west.
Yeah.
Move west to Nanaimo. And what made you decide to move to BC when your family, your friends, your whole life is in Regina?
There's a couple reasons. A, because I was so confused, I did a lot of research. And throughout my research, I uncovered that BC had a really good renal program, which was the biggest attraction.
The BC Renal Agency.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and it just seemed like Chrissy would have a better chance of getting a organ donation, as well as support from the program in terms of medication, as well as dialysis and things like that. So my understanding with the Saskatchewan program is that we'd have to be traveling to Saskatoon lots, which is about a 2.5-hour drive. In the dead of winter would be the most horrible thing, right? So it's just not good for the body.
And was Chrissy on dialysis at this point?
No. So she was probably at about a 40% kidney function at that time. So we just were preparing knowingly that she'd eventually need a transplant. So we went back home for Christmas, and she was very skinny, she was very pale, very weak. So we kind of both knew that it was declining at a very rapid rate, and it would be one of our last trips out there in a while. So when we came back, she had an appointment in Victoria to get ultrasound on her fistula to figure out where to put it in, because they were talking about dialysis at that point. And that point is when she fainted at the hospital. And that's like when her kidneys went from 13 to 15% to nothing, right? So
that must have been pretty scary.
That was the moment for me. It was the moment where it's like, holy cow, like this is the realest moment. Like it just everything that I've done with research was just kind of like, it was there, but it wasn't like tied in emotionally as much. Like it was, but it hit me hard. Yeah. I went and got myself tested, actually, to be a living donor. Interestingly enough, I made it up to stage 2, and I got the call on the day that Chrissy got her transplant that I was ready to go to stage 3 to meet the nephrologist, the surgeon, the psychologist, and everything like that too.
The call came a lot faster than you actually expected it to.
So, leading up to that point, there was a lot of nerves going up to that point, like, because I was trying to keep that away from Chrissy. She found out anyways.
Oh, she didn't know you were going to be a donor?
No, she didn't know until after the first stage. I had to get the blood work, and she was getting her blood work at the same time. And she's like, hey, why are you getting blood work? You're healthy. And she figured it out, so I had to let her know. But that happened in March, and after she found out, we kind of were planning our lives around what would happen if I got to be a donor, because it just seemed like everything was going the right way. And so we were almost, in a sense, preparing for that moment when I got the okay to become a donor, and just everything. So there was a lot of excitement, in a sense, leading up to that point and when I got my second set of blood tests, they said about 6 weeks, and 6 weeks was around that 20th as well. So I was waiting for that call, right? And
Right.
not even expecting that she would get the kidney call,
Amazing.
right? So
Yeah.
a lot of excitement at first, and then when she came in, like, she works right across the street from me, so usually we kind of see each other for lunch, and because she was doing her dialysis lunch, the days that we would carpool, she would come up to my parking spot to do her dialysis in the car. And the day that she got her kidney, which was the 19th, when she got the call, she came up to my work, and as around the same time as her lunch, but this time the only thing that was different is she's carrying her machine, her warmer for dialysis, and she's carrying her lunch bag, and she was in tears.
Oh.
Right, and excuse me, this is always the hardest part for me. But she was absolutely in tears because of the fact that, and she just said to me, she's like, I got a kidney. I was blown away, right? It was a dream come true, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like it feels like it's still a dream to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Chrissy's doing well. It's how many weeks now post-transplant?
Almost 3 weeks.
Almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And do you have that feeling of hope on the horizon again?
Ooh, yeah, hope on the horizon. Just hoping that everything goes through okay, and excited to have her life back.
But there you were in the moment. You were stepping up. You were stepping up and ready to jump in and potentially, save her life.
Yeah. Till death do us part is what we said in our vows, and I meant every word of it.
When did you meet Glenn?
In '79, so we're both the same age. So we were 19, and then we got married in '84. We were both 24 years old.
And then you mentioned Glenn started to have a few symptoms.
Actually, before we got married, yes, he was back and forth out of emergency. They thought it was like flu. He had a flu bug. Then they said he was dehydrated, so we kept going back and forth to the emergency, and one doctor would tell us, no, it's flu bug or dehydration. So we didn't know exactly what.
So what tipped you off that maybe there was something more going on?
Well, the one time he came home after work and woke up in the middle of the night. Sheets were soaking wet, and that was just from the sweat, from him having a fever. Then he started to have twitches in his ankles and wrists. Go back to emergency. Doctor said, oh, it's a pinched nerve. Some more tests. Still, they didn't pinpoint it down. About 2 years, I guess, back and forth. We had our firstborn, Crystal. She was born in 1988 of October. Glenn still wasn't diagnosed at that time. That year, New Year's Eve, we're ready to go out, and we got the call. Just when we were ready to go out the door, we got the call from his doctor, and they said, hey, we found out it's your kidneys. Got to get to the emergency and be hooked up to dialysis right now. He was put on a machine right away. They put in, I don't know what's called, a port, and then they put the hose in there and hooked him to the machine right away. Mm-hmm. And it was dialysis every second day.
Did they tell you what kind of kidney disease at this point, or they didn't know?
Not at that time, no.
No.
They didn't know. Then after they found out it was polycystic.
Polycystic is an inherited kidney disease, as we all know now, but Did anyone else, was Glenn aware of anyone else in his family that had kidney disease?
Nobody at all. Nobody.
And you're a young couple just starting your life with
Yeah.
a new baby
Yeah.
girl. So probably a lot of stress in your life for both of you. Glenn's is he in the hospital on dialysis, or is he?
Yeah.
And how long did that go on?
He was on dialysis for a little bit more than a year.
Now, at that time, they told you it was polycystic kidney disease.
Yeah.
But they explained that it wasn't inherited. You knew it was.
No,
Oh, okay.
they never mentioned anything, but I took her in for testing and she was fine. I took her to, I don't know, about 3-4 different pediatricians, and no, she was fine. No signs, no symptoms of having the same polycystic disease.
Fast forward a little bit into the future. You had a second daughter.
Yeah. And this would be after Glenn's transplant. She was born in '94. So this would be 3 years after Glenn had his transplant. She's fine. Nothing's wrong. She's been checked, but then again, it seems to hit that magical age of 24 years old, and that's when my husband was diagnosed with it. That's when Crystal was diagnosed with it, and now my youngest daughter is now 24. So,
When your daughter, Crystal, turned 24, is that when she began to have similar symptoms to your husband?
yes, because she was going into emergency. I was there with her a few times when they said that she was dehydrated, but it was a shocker to find out that she had it too.
What's going through your mind now? I mean, you thought all along, my daughter doesn't have this. She was told she doesn't have this. Now at age 24, same age as your husband, Glenn,
Yeah.
she now has been diagnosed with PKD. What are you thinking?
It's like not again. It's very emotional.
Yeah, understandably, yeah.
Because your husband had it, not your daughter.
They say this is a disease that affects, well, they say diseases in general affect everyone, but this one truly is all in the family, and it's so hard on not just the patients, but all the family members. But you've come here today, you've come from Regina, and it's actually for a good reason, right?
100%. She looks so good.
She's had a transplant. She looks fantastic.
Yes, she does.
And you've come to stay at the Kidney Suites and help her out for
A couple of weeks.
couple of weeks.
And it's so nice to that she's got this place to be here to recover, because back in '91 there was no kidney suite for me and Crystal to stay in while her dad, my husband, was recovering from a transplant.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so nice.
Well, I mean, there's more services for sure now.
Yeah.
And the other thing, medical advancements. I mean, there's, that's the other thing to keep in mind, that times have changed significantly in
Yes,
terms of what they
have.
can do today
Yeah.
for patients. There's still no cure, but
No.
they know a lot more than they did back
Exactly.
in the early 1990s. When did you find out that you were going to be in a kidney suite?
The day of, like, probably about 45 minutes after I got the call. She said, good news, there's one open for you. That was on Tuesday, but it wasn't available until Monday, which was the day that I got discharged anyway. So it all worked out.
So without the kidney suites, what would you have done?
I don't know. I don't know, because it is the most expensive place to stay in Vancouver, of course.
So what's helping you in the healing? Like it's helping you all in the healing
Oh
process.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, like it's very nice. I love the area. Reminds me of where our house was back in Regina, and it's very beautiful. I'm very thankful for sure. Yeah, I did not expect this at all. Like I thought it would have been like bare bone, go find your own cutlery and that kind of stuff, but it was like packed with all the necessities. I was like, oh my god, I don't have to go to like the store and buy anything or like toilet paper. It's all here. It was just amazing.
Well, it's been wonderful talking to you today.
Thank you. You too.
Congratulations again,
Thanks.
and we wish you all the very best. And come back and see us.
Yes, for
Update
sure.
us on your story.
I will.
Thanks,
Thank
Chrissy.
you.
Hey, did you know that one organ donor can save up to 8 lives? Did you know that you are more likely to need a transplant than become an organ donor? Did you know that the donor decal on your driver's license or care card is now not enough? No. A donation is only considered after all life-saving efforts are made and it's certain you will not survive. And did you know that 2 doctors not involved in the transplant must declare your death before organ donation can proceed? Any British Columbian who is 19 years or older can register their decision about being an organ donor, and parents can register their children. And did you know you only need to register your decision once? So, register or verify your decision about organ donation at transplant.bc.ca or kidney.bc.ca. Did you know that? Now you do.